Hello Year 4 and welcome to your English session today. As always, we are going to start with some retrieval. So, which sentence is grammatically correct? I'll read them through for you. So the first one, tomorrow we went shopping at the sales. In 3 weeks' time, I will be on holiday. Next weekend, we had gone to the river to fish. Last summer, we swim at the beach and collect seashells. And if you notice here, it says tick 1. So can you identify which one is correct? Okay, let's have a look at all of these. So, tomorrow, we went shopping at the sales. What's the problem with that one? Well, we're talking about tomorrow. But here we've got our past tense. So we've got the wrong verb here. We could have tomorrow we are going shopping at the sales. Or you could have yesterday we went shopping at the sales. But as it's written, it doesn't make sense. How about this one? In 3 weeks' time, I will be on holiday. In 3 weeks, we're talking about the future. I will be. That's correct, isn't it? We're talking about the future tense. So hopefully you've given this one a tick. But let's just go through the others. Next weekend, so we're talking about the future again. We had gone. Now, we had gone is past, so they don't sit together either. Last summer, past tense. We swim. If we're swimming, it's present, so they don't fit. So hopefully you had a go at that. We are going to be looking at a new book for the next couple of weeks, and it is called The Promise. This is the front cover. What can you tell about the book just from looking at the front cover? What can you see? Got a lonely, what looks like an animal down here, maybe a dog. We've got a grey bird and a red bird. We've got the fact that it's called The Promise. Now, what does a promise mean if you are asked to keep a promise? This strange building here and these lines, possibly a fence. What do you think the book will be about? Pause the video and just have a little think or a discussion with somebody next to you if you can. Okay, as we look further in, we're still looking at The Promise by Nicola Davies. We've got the illustrator, Laura Carlin, and the illustrations are very important in this book. What can you see? Does it change your prediction for what the book is about? And again, we progress further. We have got a face down here. Who is this person? What's she looking at? Does she feel small or big? Is she happy or sad? What tells you this? This is our first page of text, which I will read to you, but if you prefer, you can pause it and read it yourself. When I was young, I lived in a city. That was mean and hard and ugly. Its streets were dry as dust, cracked by heat and cold, and never blessed with rain. A gritty, yellow wind blew constantly, scratching round the buildings like a hungry dog. What kind of place is this? Is it somewhere you'd like to live? Just have a look at these descriptions. Mean, hard, ugly, dry as dust, cracked by heat, cold, never blessed with rain. So we're going back to dry, gritty, wind, like a hungry dog. Is that somewhere you'd like to live? Also, who is this person when I was young? We've got this girl down here. Do we think This girl is giving this description of where she lives. Nothing grew. Everything was broken. No one ever smiled. Okay, using the pages that we have looked at so far from the promise, we are going to see if we can empathise with a character. Can you remember what it means to empathise? It means to put yourself in somebody's shoes and to think what they might be feeling in their situation. So we're going to put ourselves in the shoes of this girl here. And we're going to try and consider her viewpoint and her feelings. So we're going to need to infer. So we're going to need to think about what clues we have from the pictures and from the text to find out how she's feeling. We're going to use what we know so far about the book, those words we just looked at. And we're going to think about using our background knowledge and our own experience. Have we ever been somewhere that was dry? Anywhere that was mean and hard and ugly? Have we ever been somewhere that's been really dry and it's not rained for ages, where it's been windy? And how did it make you feel? So in this picture here, I would like you to pause the video and I just want you to think about who these people are and how they're feeling. Okay, this is the text that goes with the picture. The people had grown as mean and hard and ugly as their city, and I was mean and hard and ugly too. Does that fit with what you thought about the picture? The colours are very drab, aren't they? They're very gritty, they're industrial, they're smoky, there's no colour there, there's no joy. Look at the faces on the people, there's hardly any expression, and if there is, it's very sad. There's no smiles. So this is the text we had here, and I've just blown it up a little bigger because the author repeats mean and hard and ugly, and mean and hard and ugly again. Why has the author repeated that phrase, do you think? So she said previously the city was mean and hard and ugly. Now the people are mean and hard and ugly. And now it's saying that I was mean and hard and ugly too. So the author is stressing the fact that this is not a nice place. And the place that they live, the city, is having an effect on the people who live there. And as a result, on the girl who is telling the story. Do you think she likes being mean and hard and ugly? So your task today is going to be to empathise with the characters, okay? So you've got 3 challenges. Your first one, bronze challenge, which some of you will do. You have this image of those people that we looked at, and I would like you to fill in the speech bubbles for me. If you can't print off the picture, don't worry, just draw out the speech bubbles on a piece of paper, and I want you to put in there what you think they are thinking, or what you think they might be saying, based on how they look, how they're standing, and what we've read in the book so far. Okay? Silver challenge. You've got this image here and it's slightly different because in this image you've got this little girl. She goes on to say, I lived by stealing from those who had almost as little as I did. My heart was as shriveled as the dead trees in the park. I want you to think about that picture and that text, and I want you to answer a few questions in a paragraph for me. So I want you to write a paragraph of writing stating who she is, where she has been, and what will she do next. Now I've written over here in this box, don't forget to use the word because to give evidence for your inferences. So you can't just say, I think this little girl is happy. You would have to back it up. So here I've said she is unhappy because the colours are so dull. You might go on to say she is desperate because she is stealing from people who had almost as little as she did. So just 3 or 4 sentences in a paragraph explaining to me who you think she is, where she's been, and what she will do next. Most of you will have a go at that task. If you've had a go at that task and you did it fairly easily, which some of you will do, you could go on to improve this diary entry, because tomorrow you're going to write your own diary entries from the point of the little girl. And what I would like you to do is read this diary entry, which is fairly boring, and I want you to either text mark it, so annotate it, or I would like you to rewrite it, thinking about these things. So could you replace verbs to paint a more vivid picture? So remember, when you're writing a diary entry, you want to make the reader feel as you do. You want them to empathise with you. So can you use more vivid adjectives and verbs? Could you add a rhetorical question? So sometimes we might ask the reader a question that we don't really want to answer. You might say, how would you feel if you just stolen from an old lady's pocket? Okay, the reader wouldn't answer, but it's quite emotive to ask that question. You could rearrange sentences, so they start with subordinate clause. You could use short sentences for effect, and you could have used compound sentences. And can you try and use similes? So my heart was as shriveled as the dead trees in the park. That's a simile that was used here. Could you create your own? So you can use this as a base, but adding in, changing, making it better. Hopefully that all makes sense to you. So this is preparing you to write your own diary entry tomorrow. So take some time on it and have a real think and consideration of how that little girl feels. And I will speak to you in tomorrow's English lesson. Goodbye, Year 4.